Hello and welcome to my review of the Warp Spiders for Aeldari for Warhammer 40,000 from Games Workshop. Now, one of these box sets will cost you £40 and consists of 90 plastic components. The format of this review is as normal, so I'll have a look at each one of these Warp Spiders individually. We'll go through how easy they were to build, any issues I had, their options. We'll look at the spare parts. We'll go through size comparisons with like Lycus and other Phoenix Lords and other Aspect Warriors and things. Then at the end, I'll go through all of their rules. So first things first, I did enjoy building these. They were a little bit tricky with the gun placement because there are, sort of 3 points of contact, I guess. Let's just pick one up and show you first of all. So this is one of them, and what I mean by 3 points of contact is, so you've got the gun, which I think is connected to the arm is connected to the gun. So that's 1 point of contact. Then the second one is this cable has to connect to this particular warp jump generator. Maybe you can put the warp generator and the gun on the different like bodies, maybe. I'm not quite sure. I didn't really try. I guess you can. And then the third point of contact is this arm, of which it looks like there's a bit of a gap there, so I might have to put some glue in. But that's a bit tricky, that one. Oh, actually, no, there's 4 points of contact, because then there's this arm as well, this kind of support thing that connects to the generator. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 points of contact when you kind of put it on. So it's a bit fiddly. If you've got any spiders that can help you that have more I want to say arms, but you know what I mean, legs, more legs to help you put these together, then that's fine. They're not as fiddly as, say, Mechanicus or Sisters of Battle, for instance. Poses are cool. The one thing that's a bit odd is these scenic base things. You kind of have to put them on because they've got plugs and sockets, and you do get some spare parts such as this. You only get 3 of these like Webway Empyrean kind of floaty crackling energy things, and it just looks a bit odd to have 4 of them on the scenic bases and then one of them, oh, I missed out. That's a little bit of a negative, I'd say. But yeah, the poses are cool. You got this one. Different heads as well. You've got this one firing, maybe firing down, I don't know. You can't change the weapon look. They've all got these Death Weavers, I think they're called. And then this is the Exarch, and you get a number of options for the Exarch. So you can have the Exarch with Power Blades, Death Weavers, Power Blade Array, which I think mine's equipped with, a Death Weaver or a Spinneret rifle, or an Exarch's Death Spinner. So number of options for the Exarch. I've just gone for the Power Blade Array just to give them a bit more close combat, and also you just know that when I get a second set, which Games Workshop love them so much, they've put them in the new Combat Patrol box set. I think that costs about £100. I'll have all 5 of them with ranged weapons, and then I could proxy the other Exarch as standard Warp Spider. You also get this little statue thing, which I said looks a bit like the woman from The Ring crawling out the well, which I think is quite appropriate for these, because these kind of like appear out of nowhere. And that's it for the Warp Spiders. Very nice. You'll have fun building them. And speaking of which, here is some spare parts. These are the spare parts that you get. So right here, you've got the Death Weavers. I think that's the Spinneret rifle. Oh, that's the Exarch Death Weaver. Look, it's a bit fancy. It's got some extra symbols and things on it, and like there's a little bit different on here, and it's got this little icon thing. This is the Spinneret rifle. As you can see, it looks a little bit different. You've got another warp jump generator. That's another one. Then you've got these, which I think are Death Weavers. So there's those, which are kind of like flamers. You got a load of heads. I mean, I think I made a big deal about how many heads you get in this set. I'm not even joking here, guys. Look at how many. See, these are these little crackling energy. Nothing stopping you from putting them on the other bases to kind of tie them up, or putting two on that lonesome one, or maybe even just putting them on Lycus's base. But yeah, check out the number of heads in this set. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 extra head. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 extra heads. There's no way that this set should have 30. I mean, that is the easiest thing for Games Workshop to customize, is the heads. It's really hard to make miniatures that are, you know, have their arms and legs posable and things, whereas the heads, they just slot on there very well. They just slot on there easily, so that's the easiest thing for them to customize. I would have preferred less heads and more posability, and like the arms and the weapons, and customization of like pouches and things. Like, we don't really get any pouches. I do bang on about it, but we do get lots of extras in like the Deathcore Krieg sets and things, and Eldar, we're kind of not getting them. So yeah, that's where we are with the spare parts. A fair amount, but I don't know whether you could use them. You know, these crackling energy things you could, and the heads maybe on bases, but yeah, not quite sure on the usability of those, unfortunately. Okay then, size comparisons. First size comparison will be with Lycus right here. So she is the Phoenix Lord for the Warp Spiders, shares many aesthetics. Yeah, she goes quite well with them. She'd go even better with 10 of them, of course. One day that will happen. Then compared to other Aspect Warriors, so of course I do have the brand new Fire Dragons. Here's the Exarch, looking very cool. I'd probably say the Fire Dragons are a taller, just because of their heads. You know, their helmet shape is a little bit different, but overall the actual Aspect Warriors are pretty much the same size. The Fire Dragons just look bigger, which is odd because Fire Dragons used to be quite small. But yeah, I can't show you the Warp Spiders next to the old 1990 metal minis because I never own any Warp Spiders. These are the first Warp Spiders I own. So yeah, they're the two Exarchs. I don't know, I'll probably say I prefer the pose of the Fire Dragon, but it's nice to see the Warp Spider having that scenic base. But there we go. And then Swooping Hawks, fresh off the press, right here. Just built these. Here's the Exarch. Yeah, Swooping Hawks are much more taller. But there's the Exarch compared to the Warp Spider one. I was pleasantly surprised by the Swooping Hawks. And then, yeah, compared to the... Not much in it, but overall the Swooping Hawks are going to be taller because they're flying. And then just with some other Eldar minis, such as an Avatar of Cain and a Wraith Knight. There you go. That's how big the Wraith Knight is compared to the Warp Spiders. And the final comparison I always like to make is just with some Empyrean models. So we have the Space Marines. We've got a Space Marine on the left, Slime Arbo, and then a Primaris. Hopefully you can see those. So Warp Spiders compared to a standard Space Marine. So yeah, that's where they measure up. They are probably a little bit shorter. It's hard to say. I mean, yeah, they're a little bit shorter, but I think that might be the pose. But there we go. And then Slime Arbo is, well, similar height, I'd say. And then Primaris is definitely way taller, probably taller than the Exarch on the base. Yeah, I mean, the head is, top of the head is kind of the top of the head of the Exarch. But yeah, hope those comparisons have helped. If you're against Primaris, Primaris are going to As you can see, look, be taller in a combat. Okay, so this is my part of the review where I will go through all of the rules for the Warp Spiders. You'll find them in your brand new 10th edition Aeldari Codex. And speaking of price of points and things, I might have forgot to mention at the start of the review that a box set of these will cost you £40, which is a very large amount of money for 5 monopose plastic aspect warriors. I can tell you that right now. But in terms of points cost, Warp Spiders cost you 85 points for 5 models, or 170 points for 10, so you can have them in a unit of 10. You will find them in the kind of Aspect Warrior section, but that's after Dire Avengers, Swooping Hawks, Fire Dragons and Howling Banshees. They're towards the end of the section. So their stat line reads: the movement is 12 inches, toughness 3, save of 3+, 1 wound, save of 6+, objective control 1. The Exarch has movement of 12 inches, toughness 3, save of 3+, with an invulnerable save of 5+, 2 wounds, leadership of 6+, and objective control of 1. Now, I'm not quite sure whether they all have an invulnerable save of 5+, or whether that is just the Exarch. Someone put it in the comments below. It's not very clear. It kind of looks like the invulnerable save is for both, because I've tried looking at all my other codexes where there's like, you know, a sergeant and then a standard troop, to see if a standard troop has an invulnerable save and then a sergeant does. I'm just going to think that they all have invulnerable saves at this point, but I could be wrong, but please do put it in the comments to correct me. The unit composition is 1 Warp Spider Exarch and then 4 to 9 Warp Spiders. The Warp Spider Exarch is equipped with Exarch's Death Spinner, close combat weapon, and then every Warp Spider is equipped with a Death Spinner and close combat weapon. So let's just go through the Exarch's weapons. So the Exarch's Death Spinner, which is different, it ignores cover, it's a torrent weapon, its range of 12 inches, attacks is D6, ballistic skill non-applicable because it's like a flamer, strength is 6, AP -2 and damage 1. Now that is a buff compared to the normal Death Spinners that all the Warp Spiders are equipped with. They all have exactly the same range, attacks, but and damage, but their strength is 4 and their AP is -1. But they're still flamers and they ignore cover, and they're a torrent weapon. Now the Exarch's Death Spinner can be replaced with one of the following. So a Spinneret rifle and Death Weavers. So a Spinneret rifle is a longer range weapon. It ignores cover and is a torrent, so kind of like a flamer again, but it's a range of 18 inches, attacks D6, ballistic skill non-applicable, strength 5, AP -1, damage 1. So you're getting a worse strength and a worse AP for that extra 6 inches. The Death Weaver ignores cover, is a torrent, it's twin linked, so it's kind of like the short range flamers. Attacks a D6 again, ballistic skill non-applicable, strength of 4, AP -1, damage 1. The Exarch's Death Spinner can also be replaced with 1 Power Blades and 1 Death Weavers. So the Power Blades is a melee weapon, it's lethal hits, twin linked, attacks 5, weapon skill 3+, strength 4, AP -2 and damage 1. Just gives a bit more of a punch in combat. Yes, the weapon skill is 3, not the best, would have been good at 2, considering it's an Exarch, but there we go. Or can be replaced with 1 Power Blade Array. And then the Death Weavers, I've already explained those. But then they can also be replaced with 1 Power Blade Array. Now the Power Blade Array is what I've equipped mine with. It's got lethal hits, it's twin linked, 10 attacks this time, weapon skill 3+, strength 4, AP -2 and damage 1. So it's much like the Power Blades, but you're getting double the attacks, so you're foregoing the 6-inch flamers for 5 more extra attacks. Still lethal hits though. For every 5 models in this unit, it can have 1 Aspect Shrine token. We'll talk about that in a moment. Now, abilities. Has a core ability, Deep Strike, and then faction ability, Battle Focus. Also has a specific ability for Warp Spiders called Flicker Jump. In your movement phase, each time this unit is selected to make a normal move, it can use this ability. If it does, until the end of the turn, this unit is not eligible to declare a charge, and models in it have a move characteristic of 24 inches. Each time this unit uses this ability at the end of the phase, roll 1d6 for each model in this unit. For each one, this unit suffers 1 mortal wound. So nice to get that extra movement, and also it'd be good to get it buffed. And also it's good to get the unit buffed by Lycus. War gear abilities, Aspect Shrine token. Here we go. So once per battle, for each Aspect Shrine token this unit has, you can change the result of one hit roll or one wound roll made for a model in this unit to an unmodified 6. That's pretty nice. Obviously, you know, putting the shrine model that you can see in the middle of the video there, you're removing that after you've used that war gear ability. Keywords: infantry, Aeldari, jump pack, fly, aspect warriors, warp spiders, Asuryani. So there you go, that's my review of the warp spiders for Aeldari or Eldar. I've never owned warp spiders before. I've always thought that they were quite cool, jumping out of the warp and then just flaming things, kind of like a fast attack flame unit. Obviously your mileage may vary in terms of their usefulness. They are quite squidgy, as all aspect warriors are, with the toughness 3, but their save is good at 3+ now. They have saves of 3+ all across the board. They're fast. I think they can get out of trouble. When you're combining them with Lycus's Empyrean ambush ability, really gets them into close combat. They can declare a charge turn in which they use their flicker jump ability. I'm not sure whether that's a good thing, because they are only equipped with close combat weapons at the end of the day. And the usefulness of their death spinners, again, is in question. A very short range of 12 inches. They've really got to get in close. They're going to be vulnerable as they're making their way up the board unless they use their flicker jump ability. My tactic for using them is use them on weaker armies, weaker horde armies, and use them in a group of 10 rather than 5, just to go in, hose down weaker infantry with their flamer type weapons. But if you're pitting 5 of them against like Space Marines and things, they're probably going to get squished. No pun intended, because they're, you know, spiders. What do you guys think of the warp spiders? I think they're a nice looking unit. I'm pleased to own warp spiders now, finally, for the Eldar army. Looking forward to getting the combat patrol where I can have 10 and those newer Dire Avengers. Please do put your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Good to hear from you. Thank you for watching. The Avatar protects.